very actively involved in the struggle, including the demonstrations when they were trying to integrate the swimming pool, as well as the sit-in movement that was happening during that time period. My dad embraced not only the concept of self-defense, but he was also involved in nonviolent activities as well, just like the other freedom riders throughout the country at that particular time, students in particular. So it was important to him to allow us as children to be involved in things that were important to us, and I think that's an important lesson there. Those of us who hold true to certain values, it's important for our children to see us struggle and deal with those values. You know, hands in and stuff, you know, because it's natural to want your children to do better and have better and all of that. But, you know, they need to understand the value of struggle, and that struggle involves just that, you know, the sacrifice. So my dad was good and mom were good in that respect of allowing us to be involved and to hear. I oftentimes recall sitting in our living room when my dad would do interviews with people in the media. He would allow me to actually sit in. I was like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. And I would sit in, but the idea there was a rule, because he was also a very disciplined person, and he said, you sit there, you listen, but you say nothing. And so that's what I would do, but I would learn through that process. And so over the years, once we got to Cuba, that was a real different kind of experience for us. I was 11 years old at the time. We had gone through all of that struggle, including, as my mom says in the film, having to leave our home at night, and the state troopers were surrounding our home, and it was really miraculous that we actually got out of the encirclement that they were doing, because guaranteed Dad was carrying submachine gun. Okay. So if they had stopped him or us, it definitely would have been a shootout. I think the other important thing to know, even though, you know, people nowadays get bent out of shape when they hear about guns, guns were important, were critical to our survival. And today, you know, it's one thing that we really need to address. It's not the guns, it's the mentality of the people with the guns. And we need to be addressing that with our young people in particular, okay? The values. They have missed the values, and we have allowed an educational system to exist in this city even that has really not looked out for our best interests in terms of instilling the kind of values that our children need to be able to not buy into the cultural nonsense that the system carries on. It's not in our best interest, and the portrayal of black people. So I got off a little bit there, but I felt it was important to say that. But so going and coming out of the kind of environment that we came out of and going into Cuba, it was like an amazing shift from seeing white people primarily, and not exclusively, because we did have some white people who were allies even when we were down south. But going from a situation like that to a situation where you had children from all races and people getting along was just amazing. And not having to, and being able, having the freedom to go pretty much where you wanted to go, and race was a non-issue in terms of how you could go to different places. Okay, so that was an interesting aspect. And from Cuba, I guess the 3 years that my brother and I spent there, I would say the greatest lesson that we probably learned there was that people could and can live together without major friction. I'm talking about people of different races and people from different kinds of backgrounds. From there, my brother and I left Cuba 2 years before my parents did. So we ended up in China 2 years before my parents actually got there. And all the time when we were overseas, we were in boarding schools. And so we lived with kids and kids from those particular countries. So we had to learn the language, and we had the opportunity to learn the culture, which was very important, especially in China. There was an opportunity for us to, as Americans who were there at the invitation of the government, to have special treatment. But my brother and I chose not to receive special treatment. We lived for 5 years with Chinese students in a regular Chinese school. And that was important because my dad had instilled in us the importance of knowing that as African Americans, we had a responsibility to represent our people in a proper fashion, that we would not be ugly Americans wherever we went. And how many of you know that the ugly American concept is really out there because of the many horrible things that our government has done to people in the third world, right? And so it was really important. And so you carry that kind of weight when you're out there, and we don't see it as a burden. It was a responsibility, and you live up to your responsibility and do your part of representing your people in the most positive light that you can. And that's why I threw out what I did about culture, and the culture depicting us in a negative fashion. Even to this day, think about what goes out to the world about African Americans. Culturally, what is released, and how do people think about us? What do they think about our women? What do they think about our men? I mean, you know, those are things, those are real issues that we have to deal with. And so people in the entertainment field need to be responsible.
That's right.
And need to be held responsible.
That's right.
To how they are projecting to the world our people.